Hello everyone, happy new year to each and every one of you. This is a new year, new challenges, new everything. We're gonna start off strong, guys. I hope you had an amazing New Year's with all of your families, with your friends, with your loved ones, and with your not loved ones as well. The best for each and every one of you. So this year is gonna be amazing. We're gonna have a lot of projects in hand. We're gonna expand to the adult lesson as well. We're gonna go deeper into those topics. I want those topics to be a little bit deeper just because they're complex in itself. These embers are complex too, but with the adult lessons, I believe we can go different pathways, each and every one of, and it's going to be talking about Psalms, so I'm very excited about that. It's a book of wisdom, it's a book of sadness, it's a book of happiness, of refining yourself, and we're going to study each and every week what it really means. For today, we're going to focus on inverse study for today, so we're going to get right to it. This quarter, we're going to be studying something that I would even say you need to know. This is going to happen eventually. This is something that's going to happen. This is something that will come to pass. Once you understand the fundamentals, now you have to understand why we repeat the fundamentals one time and two times. Last quarter, we talked about some concepts of our denomination. Now we're going to talk about something that I am pretty sure each and every one of the denominations, if you're from a different denomination than me, you know it's going to happen. It will eventually happen. We can't blindside ourselves to what is coming up and persecution. It's not a beautiful subject. I would not even say it's an ugly one, but just rephrase your mindset into thinking about it as something that needs to happen, something that demonstrates us that what we believe in is not a lie. So with that said, we're gonna start off the lesson Luke 9:43. As you guys know, I take liberty and time to read this beforehand, so just make sure to read it in your free time. As we start off the full lesson. We start off with sending out the 12. Then Herod seeks to see Jesus, feeding the 5,000. Peter confesses Jesus as the Christ. But today, the main focus is 43 to 46. That is the prediction of Jesus' own death and secularism. And we also talk about how a village rejected Christ. I actually did not hear about this one. This is the first time I'm even hearing about this one. So that was interesting to read about. I would even say we would go a little bit further. The cost of discipleship as well is one of the things I didn't quite grasp until this lesson. I'll encourage you to read the 43 to 46. I'm going to start off with the questions, right? The raw opinions that we have on this lesson. In what ways did Jesus extend religious liberty to others? When religious liberty comes to mind, the first thing that comes to your mind is choosing whatever God you want, choosing whichever thing you'd like. You have to understand, don't condemn people for what they believe in. It's not you're going to hell. You've seen many people, if they don't believe in what you believe, automatically the assumption is, well, you're not going to be saved. The first thing that comes to my mind is there's a verse in the Bible that says, Christ says that he has other people. He has people in other flocks. So we know there's more people out there. The ways that I believe that Jesus extended his religious liberty. One example right now in the lesson, people didn't want him there. No, well, we don't know what they said, but they just said no. Christ said, okay, I'm out. I can't think of another example right now. What I do remember is there's a verse that mentions, and this is a beautiful thing as well, because Christ gives you an option. You only have the responsibility to let people know about Christ one time. But if they just don't want to listen to you, it's fine. It's okay. You're not going to be responsible for that person anymore. It's a beautiful thing. That's the way that Jesus extends his religious liberty to other people. He goes, he speaks to you. I haven't found a passage where Christ gets mad because people don't accept him. So the next one, why was it hard for the disciples to learn lessons of tolerance of others? Well, because they were human. Just imagine in this perspective, just imagine, I don't know if you ever had a chance, you're with your mom, you're with your dad, and they're talking to people. You see that they don't pay attention to your parent. How does that make you feel? You want to slap them, right? I'm pretty sure they're disrespecting your family members, right? These people, their master was being disrespected. Of course they would feel that need to slap them, that need to do something about it because you're disrespecting the master. You're disrespecting someone they thought was the son of God. We even know they went through way deeper lengths to defend his honor. I kind of understand why it was hard for them to have tolerance towards other people. I think another advantage that Christ had was that Christ knew the hearts of the people. Didn't want to listen. He didn't take it personal. Christ had this immense mindset because he knew what was going to happen with these people. So that's why I believe that it was hard for the disciples to have tolerance towards other people. The next one is, what was the difference between Christ's spirit and that of his disciples? He came here with a purpose, knowing what he was going to do. And his disciples, well, they were followers. They were just learning little by little what they were deciphering what Christ meant. That's the difference. His disciples were students and he was the master. One of the things that we see made a difference was Christ was close to his Father. Christ prayed. Christ came here with the mission. He came here with the purpose. The disciples, they didn't even know their purpose yet up until Christ told them. And we saw that in past lessons what their mission was. They were just learning. They didn't even, all the information they were going to receive was about until Christ told them. That's one of the difference between Christ's spirit and his disciples. Okay, we're moving forward with the next one. How did the disciples justify wanting to bring fire down on the Samaritan? We're just gonna go back. They disrespected the master, disrespected Christ. I'm pretty sure the disciples knew what happened when you disrespect Christ. Instances of cities being blown to pieces. We see thousands of soldiers being annihilated by one single angel. We see famine, we see plagues. When you disrespect Christ, that's what happens. So why would anything happen now? That's how they justified it. Was it positive? Was it negative? I think that's really up to you to decide. When you understand why they felt that they had to justify having to burn these people, you understand maybe they were right. They did need to bring fire down. Another thing that's coming to my mind too is maybe it's because they were Samaritan. From my understanding, Samaritans weren't very liked in the community. They were outsiders. They were people no one really cared about. Maybe second-class citizens. So the next one is, how did the cross demonstrate Christ's spirit? What does the cross represent? The cross represents the death of everything old. It represents the death not only of Christ, but it represents a sacrifice. It represents everything that we were and someone being sacrificed to everything that we can become. It demonstrates the sacrifice of the spirit. That demonstrates a sacrifice. That's what love is, sacrificing yourself for people. Why would you put yourself above others if not for love? And we're going on with the next question. How can we know? How can we know which spirit we're really of? How can we make sure we don't mistakenly think we're of Christ's spirit when we're actually of our culture's spirit? That's actually a very good question, because I also have questions. How do you? There are some people in different denominations that, for example, worship differently than maybe you. They think it's the Holy Spirit. We don't. So you just got to ask yourself, what does the Bible say? And I think maybe I'll be posting some Bible verses that can tell us, but that's actually a really good question. I would have to research deeper digging in deeper into another field, which is spirit world. And as you know, the spirit world is something that's revealed to us. There's not only the physical world, but there's also the spirit world as well. We're entering into another dimension. I'm just going to leave some verses that talk about that. That's actually a very good one you can discuss with your team, family, and see what interesting conclusions you come up. Next one, how should we relate to Christians who lack the spirit of Christ? I think we should relate to them by not judging or not taking it personal, right? Don't take anything personal. Someone famous said that, I forgot. But don't take anything personal. Or I think I read it in a book. I think the best way to relate to people who lack the spirit of Christ, just not taking it personal, being diplomatic with these people. Maybe you can pray for them, right? If you want to go a step further, the best way to relate to these people is not to take personal what they say. Understand that maybe they're going through something difficult, right, in their life. That's why they lack the spirit of Christ. But I don't think relate means that we have to invite them to our house. Maybe we do. The best way to relate to those people is just not to take it personal. The last one. How can we do a better job of looking out for others' interests? Well, it just depends. Because if their interests align with ours, we should be looking out for others' interests. We should look out for others' interests if they're gonna harm ours. If we know what they're up to, then we can pretty much avoid what they have in store for us. Looking out for others' interests, maybe you find I would only look out for others' interests if they aligned with mine, or if they're going to be a stone in the road for me. You have to be sharp. It's like that verse said, you got to be like snakes and like a dove. It doesn't mean you're going to be harmless or harmful. It just means you're going to be sharp. And that's what I understand of this question.